what the bypass looks like. You can see right there, B plus, all the way to. All right, so real quick before I do this bypass, let's go over the specs on this battery. You see it's 48 volts, 16 amp hours, 768 watt hours. Let's go up top, flip this around. You have this little white logo with the battery on it, so you can actually press this, and when you do, you'll see the percentage of your battery, which is 99% for me. Press it again, 53 volts. Press it one more time and you get the battery temperature, which is 23 Celsius. Now let's go ahead and connect our prongs to these terminals and let's see what our battery readout is. Positive with positive, negative with negative. So you see that I'm at 2.9 volts. All right, 2.92 volts. So let's go ahead, cut this open and do the bypass. And just for reference, if you're wondering which is which, right here you have a plus for positive, and on the left side this is a negative for the negative side of the terminal. All right, let's get this open. All right, so you fellas know in my last video I opened up this battery pack by cutting a straight line down this side and then repeating the process on the back side. That's because this thing is filled with epoxy and everything is just compact and compressed and it's just holding everything together. There was no way I can get this out without having to cut it. So, you know, instead of doing it with the two cuts, I actually found an easier solution. Starting out with the back or the bottom of the battery pack, you can remove these 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, using T25 security bit. All right, now with our battery pack open up top, you can see where your wires go. Let's pull these out. So we see our wires come up here at this top area. So we know our BMS is laying right up here. So we're just gonna cut this top part off and work with our BMS. So let's go ahead and get this opened up. We're gonna cut right along these sides and that's it. I did manage to get one side to budge. You can see all the way through that. You can actually see the epoxy from the other side, so I use that as my stopping guide. Now we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing to this opposite side and pull that off. Second side, unfortunately my cutoff wheel broke right here at this point, and I don't have another one to replace it with, so we're just gonna pry this up with a flathead and go from there. All right, so right here I want to take the time to let you guys know when doing this with the flathead, what I'm doing is prying this top part up, but you do not want to dig into the epoxy, because if you do, you will start to dig inside the BMS, and that will not be a good thing. This is where I'm at. I've got this much propped open. Now under that putty, there's a lot of components, so I'm trying to bang this with the hammer. This is what the epoxy looks like, straight across. Instead of pulling that apart, we're gonna work on this section alone. Okay, so I cut this back side out. Right here you can see it's labeled B+, which is good. That's what you want. We have this nickel, and we're gonna jump that from right here all the way to this front side. It's gonna be the thicker red wire and not the thin one. The thin one is for your charging port. So be sure it's the thick one, the one in the middle, right here in the center. All right, so now that I have my B+ side connected and it's secure, now I'm gonna touch this to this nickel up here, and you're gonna notice that this 2.92 volts is gonna jump up to 54 volts. $53.3 volts. Bypass looks like, you can see right there, B+ all the way to P+. There goes the bypass. You keep the epoxy so it doesn't look too messy, and if I choose to, I can add hot glue in these corners. More than likely, that's probably what I'll end up doing. Right here you can see my voltage is consistent, 53.3 volts, and you still have these functions as well, because these data cables weren't messed with. All right, so now let's go ahead and try to get this shut. Right here, what I did was remove some epoxy so that these wires can lay flush and flat. Also remove this rubber seal that was attached to this because it was already coming apart and it kept on interfering when I was trying to close this up. I'm only gonna use these 2 screws on this side. Now working on the back end, we're gonna put this on. Battery pack is ready to go. All my screws are in. There is this side which is opened. That is because my cutoff wheel broke during the process, but eventually I'm gonna end up cutting this all the way through and either getting rid of this piece or just laying it down and just reinforcing it, just laying over some Gorilla tape. These functions still work as well. As you can see, 99%, 53 volts, and 20 Celsius is the temperature of the battery pack. All right, that's it for this video. Hope you found it useful. I'm gone.